Good afternoon. This is Ron G from WSAN Radio, and today's guest is a treat. We have no other than Royal Gaines II from United Front Network. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. We're in for a treat today. I got my man right here, Royal Gaines II. Not the third, not the fourth.
RG.
Yeah, we got the same initials, RG.
Can't get any better, man.
Yeah,
this is greatness.
Yeah. And so he has a podcast called The Ops. And you have to go on there because I watched it for the first time and I don't think I missed the episode.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm just on there watching because they got a crew. They got a crew. So I asked him, would he come on the show one day? All of a sudden, I get a message saying he already booked everything and we're ready to go. Because I had to bring him on because the United Front Network, they sponsor my morning show. And you know, and without them, I mean, I'm still doing what I'm doing, but it feels like I got people behind me with a company like that. And so, and I had no choice. I had a choice, but I chose to get him on the air. And I tell you, RG,
sir,
tell them about now. Season 1 is over with now, but before we go to season 1, give us a background on what it took to pull everything together to even start the podcast.
Oh, we got to go back about 2 years. So me and my buddy Mike, we were a part of another podcast network, and we were doing another kind of sports show, kind of some rendition of what we do now. And we were doing well. We had a buzz. And one day the owner of the company said, hey, I'm going a different direction. So we found ourselves without a podcast. And this is where faith clicks in, because I said, you know what? We had a good run. I can retire from podcasting. But Ryan, I'm telling you, bro, I could not sleep because I realized after we were done with that company, I knew everything I needed to know to keep going. It was almost like being in college without realizing it. And I was like, dude, the ancestors won't let me rest until I keep going. So got on the phone like, hey, I want to start this up. What do you think? So definitely talked to Mike, ended up contacting Penny. And at the time, Penny Owens, one of your hosts that you've had on the show before, we had only met 3 times. And I said, hey, remember me? We was on this podcast. Want to be in this business? She said, yep. And pretty much it was just like the spirits guiding me and telling me I knew everything I needed to know and finding people who were ready to do something different. And Ops is the first show, and Running with Scissors on Tuesday night, the second show. And we've been rocking and rolling for 2 years now.
You know, you said Running with Scissors. I fell out laughing when I heard that title. Because the first thing went through my head was, you a kid, that pair of scissors. And first thing your parents say, quit running them scissors in your hand. And when you said running scissors, I'm the logo I image of is a little gory, but I imagine the logo being somebody running with scissors and tripped and fell and had a scissor stuck in him with blood coming out.
Well, our first rendition of the logo actually had a little dude running on the screen in the background with scissors. That was actually the first rendition of the logo. And that was just me messing around on the computer. And then, of course, you know, the professionals clicked in and we finally got a commercialized logo. But most of the stuff was just in my heart, in my brain. I'm like, well, let's try this and see if it works.
Yeah. I feel you on that. So when you was kicked to the curb.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, that's pretty
fired on my day off, like Friday. Yes.
Yeah. How you get fired on your day off? But anyway, when that happened, a lot of people will look down and say, "Oh man, what I'm going to do? When I lost my first job, I didn't say what I was going to do. The first night they gave me my check, I went to the bar. Then after that, after I got myself together, I got up the very next day and found the job the very next day.
Brother, I'm going to take it a step further. What if I told you when we first met this person who invited us to be on our podcast, she was paying for everything out of her pocket And we decided to start giving her money. So we technically were paying to help her build her network because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to invest in people who invest in you.
Right.
So even if the person was going in a different direction, you don't send an email to the people who have invested and actually help you build your business. You have a conversation with them. And whatever happens from that point, we're good with it. But it was not the fact that we were let go. It was the simple fact that we've invested in your dream because we believe in you. So we're at least owed a conversation, not a cold email acting like we don't exist, and we'll figure it out from that point. And then you go back and make the same show with different people instead of just saying you don't want us. I feel like I owe anybody I call my friend or anybody I call a true business associate, even if it doesn't work in our favor, we need to communicate. Whether if you're not feeling me, that's cool. If you are feeling me, cool. But I feel like everyone's owed a conversation to business.
Yeah.
Whether it works in your favor or not. And I think that was the only thing that kind of was like, oh, that's a little sketchy. But at the same time, if I never took the opportunity, I wouldn't know what I know now. So as much as I want to be like sour grapes, I'm thankful because that person pretty much, whether they meant to or not, they gave me everything I needed to build the company. See, so I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you took the high road.
Oh, no. Because see, let me rephrase that. I took the high road, but the fans took the absolute low road. It got bad. I had to stop putting comments on the screen the first 7-8 episodes. It got ugly quick.
Wow.
So yeah. So I don't have to take the low road because I'm trust me, I ride on the low road all the time. But this time the fans
But you know what can you say? It happens like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you went through that transition period, you already had everything that you needed.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get back on your horse and said, I'm going back doing it again?
I felt like we were just getting a buzz, right? You know how you're just on the cusp of doing something and you feel like you're only 1 or 2 clicks away from making it a thing, you know? And I felt like if we kept the same formula and if we actually stay dedicated to our craft, we'll get back that and then some. But we just had to be willing to try. And one thing I am, if nothing more, I've always been a fighter. Some days I win, some days I lose. But one thing I will not do is quit, especially when I'm convicted by something, where there's something bigger to fight for. And I realized that, yeah, it's one thing to entertain people. Well, it's one thing to build a community. It's one thing to help people. And that's the one component that we were missing when we were doing it commercially. Now we have a platform where we can actually help people. We can actually touch lives and actually build something bigger. That's why I'm so glad we met you, because you're out there in San Antonio out there cooking. So when Penny brought you to my attention, I was like, oh yeah, let's talk to this guy. Let's see what we can do. And that's the biggest component was getting back on my horse, because I realized there was something bigger to fight for other than to just like, share, and subscribe, get 1 million views and make some money. Like, no, we're actually trying to do something bigger. And a lot of my personal investment is in this belief that people can be better if they're organized.
Right.
And that's what the motivation was, to do it again. And then you run into guys like you and Michelle and all the other people I ran into that are already civic minded. It just makes it that much easier, you know.
Well, I believe you a lot like that, because I am a no nonsense guy. Even Penny, I've been telling Penny some stuff. She just shake her head. She said, "That's why I got you here." Because some of the stuff that I say and do, and she looks like, in a way, I can't believe you saying this and doing this. But on the other hand, I like it because you're outspoken. You say what's on your mind and everything. And I told Penny, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So when she told me about you, and it is all automatic. She said y'all both got the same initials without even talking to you. And I said, oh yeah, that brother gonna be all right. She said, how you know? I said, do you hang around with Poop Hut? She said, no, it was a brother gonna be all right.
Yeah, that is one thing. The people you surround yourself by tell me a lot about you. So when Ron tells me about somebody who's awesome, you're vetted, because I know he don't play. He ain't got time to play. He's got a bigger purpose. So yeah, it's a green light for most of my friends, because we don't play like that. You know what I mean? We don't play with people's money. We don't play with people's time. And if we're going to build, we're going to build, and it's not going to be a lot of wiggle room in there. It's either going to be
Right.
done or it's not going to be done.
Now, you know what? When you said that, when I go to a place for the first time to set up, I walk in the door and I scope the place out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finish scoping it out, I said, I'm setting up right over there. So when I start setting up over there, somebody said, well, the other people set up over there. I said, well, I'm not the other people. I said, trust me, where I'm setting up, it's going to be perfect.
Right.
And then when I get finished and pack up everything, the guy comes and said, man, no, I'm going to tell everybody to set up where you set up at. Because the way I set up, I want to see the whole room.
Yeah.
Now, some DJs will go set up in a corner somewhere where you can't see them. You know, I set up right there. I'm right up front. Y'all gonna see me. You know, and it makes it easier. Somebody come there and speak and grab the mic. You're right there in a central location. So
Right.
when I go into, I already got my game plan. Or I'll go visit a building before, and I know where I'm gonna set up at. So when I start unloading the truck, boom, I'm setting up. I'm ready. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know,
Execution is everything, bro. Execution is everything.
and
And
everybody has to know that when you got people that's procrastinate or what's the other word? Overthink. Oh Lord have mercy. I can't stand people overthink.
yeah. And when I was younger, I kind of had the overthinker vibe. And then I realized, what are we holding back for? There's only two things that's going to happen. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. But the guaranteed thing that's not going to work is you doing absolutely dang on nothing. So everybody in the sound of my voice, if you got something to go do it. Now, if it's negative, you may want to think about it. But if it's positive,
I'm
go
glad you
ahead
put
and
that
go do it.
disclaimer in there.
Yeah. Because I am a firm believer, like everything I've ever wanted to try, whether it's good or bad, I did it. And I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll see in the wash. But I can honestly say I go to sleep every night with no regrets about the things I've done because I never limited myself to my thoughts. I always felt like, yo, I'd rather you tell me no than me not do it. Because I can live with not getting it done. I can live with the failure. I can't live with the not knowing. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. And so with you saying that, I can almost pinpoint that we're the same. I'm getting ready to say this one word.
Mm-hmm.
We're not scared to take initiative.
Not at all.
Every job I had, they made me a supervisor, even though I didn't want to be one, because I was not scared to go ahead and take the initiative and do something without my boss telling me, do this, do this. He wasn't around. I said, well, let me do this. Who told you to do that? Nobody. Well, why'd you do it? I feel it's the best thing to do.
Because and people don't understand it. They're paying me to be here. This is not the Red Cross. I'm not passing out free food. This is the job. Yeah. And if you're going to pay me to be here, regardless of whether I love or like the job, is relative to the fact that they pay you to do a job. You should do it to the best of your ability and let the chips fall where they may. Will it always equate to you being like the manager? Maybe not. But just as a personal thing, you should always put your best foot forward. Especially if you hate the job. Why would you want to keep doing the same job over and over again by messing it up? It's still the same 8 hours. So if you do it right the first time, you ain't got to deal with it no more.
Nope.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, we were talking off camera about jobs. How certain people come complaining all the time. Shut up, you. Shut up. That's what we're doing. You know, I want to get back to the ops.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that okay, we got, is it one mic?
Oh yeah,
one mic and Dee Dee.
Yep, and so Lady D. Her name is Denise. That's the homie. I've known her for over 20 years. I've known Mike for over 15. Mike is a poet, a very well-known poet here in the Detroit area. And I'm always on him about making an album and performing. I met him through actually work, and we just stayed cool from that point. And he's technically the person who got me into podcasting, oddly enough. He appeared on that first network as a guest, and then they offered him a chance to be a host. And the person was like, "Hey, who would you like to podcast with?" He's like, "RG." So he actually got me into officially podcasting.
Wow.
So when this decision was made to keep going, he was the first person I called. It's the first person I called. He's one of my few brothers from another mother. I got a couple other brothers from another mother, but he's in that top tier. I look at him just like my family, like my sisters and my uncle. He's that important to me.
Yeah.
Lady D, I've known her technically since senior year of high school. We actually worked in the airport and we've always been cool. She's another poet. And it was just the opportunity came up when I started podcasting. I didn't know the fam was already watching the old show. So when the opportunity came up, I was like, hey, you want to run? She said, yeah, I've been watching our content for years. Let's roll. Because our idea was she doesn't watch sports. Me and Mike are technically sports fanatics. So let's offset that. Let's see what it looks like when you put a non-sports watcher with two sports nuts and pop culture crazos. Because my pop culture is probably stronger than my sports at this point in my life. So let's see what that sounds like. And having her actually brings education to the show because I ain't got no sense. So we need somebody with some sense to reel me and Mike back in because we'll talk about anything all the time. Star Wars, football, whatever.
And you are so true because I was watching one episode when she said, I don't know nothing about sports, but I'm going to give it a shot. And then she turned around and say, y'all off task. She'll say something like that to reel y'all back in. And then she'll sit there and she'll start talking so well-mannered and soft-spoken. But she gets her point across. And I see what you mean why you got her in there. She keeps y'all level.
Absolutely. She is the only one on the show with some sense. We needed somebody to offset me and Mike. Absolutely. Shout out to Lady D. Like I know a lot of people say, some people say, well, she don't say much. No, she does everything she needs to do. And she's herself. And that's all we ask anybody to be is themselves. Because everyone has a different type. Everyone doesn't kick it the same way, but that doesn't make their contributions less.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to be outspoken like Royal or over the top like Mike to actually have a voice. And that's what we want to show people, that everyone has a voice. And we have to accept people the way they are. We have to, be more inviting to people who are not so outspoken, but have significant contributions to our community. Because it takes all types.
Yeah, I'm going to mess with one Mike because sometimes he leaves himself wide open. And I'm that one that put that dagger in it when he says something. But I can see where he's coming from and when he's talking. And he said something one time, left himself. I forgot what I typed in, but Lady D just WSN Radio just sent something in.
Yes.
But once he gets started, he has that thought process. And what I like about it, it isn't a thought process that you got to wait 5 minutes for him to reply to something. Just give him just 5 seconds.
Right.
And he'll say something if his mic not off. But
yes, yeah, we're gonna work on them technical issues.
Yeah,
matter of fact, we're gonna start the GoFundMe today. We need to get Mike a new computer, y'all. Go ahead and send your money to WSAN. We gotta get Mike a new computer.
Yeah, we give him a new computer, man, and ship it to him and everything. Matter of fact, I'll fly up there and hook it up for him, make sure everything's I knock on the door. Hey, how you get my address? Don't worry about that. Where's your computer at?
Right here. Throw this away. You take this.
But we'll keep the hard drive, get everything, the contents off of it and all that stuff. Speaking about contents,
that's all.
When you come up with your playbook or whatever y'all gonna talk about, do y'all talk among each other on what it's gonna be for that Monday ops or something that you put together?
Kinda. Okay, so when we turn on the mic, we have a general idea of what we're going to talk about, but we don't have a lot of things on the op set in stone because we're always living in the present. So I could come up with 1,000 topics, right? I can let's talk about football, let's talk about sports, let's talk about tying our shoes, but is it relevant to the time? So a lot of times we call audibles on the fly. Pretty much, and this is going behind the scenes. Usually what I do is we kind of talk in the chat because we have like a couple text threads between me, my producer, because we got a producer too. His name is John. Shout out to John. So me, the producer, and all of the ops crew, we send text. Hey, what do you see this weekend? Hey, you got anything to talk about? What do you want to talk about? So it starts as a conversation. Then maybe like Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, I make the outline, and then we do the show, and that's pretty much how it is. With us, we can change on the fly, and you'd be surprised how much content doesn't get spoke of based on how the people respond to it.
I believe it.
And it's all worth it. You know, I know some people say, "Oh man, I wrote 45 minutes of dialogue. We used 2." The most important thing is to keep people engaged. So yeah, right now Matt Stafford being in the Super Bowl is a thing, but 2 weeks when I come back, ain't nobody think about Matt Stafford. We talking about the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't make no sense to sit on all these old stories and old ideas. We need to stay current with the people who watch us and the people who talk to us, because we live in the world, so we can't be so set on this idea of what we want to talk about and how it equates to how we feel about it, because you guys are our mirror. And that's why I love live broadcasts. So it's more of a conversation and an outline, and then we take it from there. A lot of the stuff you see is very, very unscripted. I have no idea what these crazy people are going to say when I turn the camera on. We only have one rule. Don't say anything that's going to get you fired, because we don't make enough money to pay your bills yet. The money's coming in, but it's not enough to pay your bills. So don't talk yourself out of your day job. You know, once we get a couple dollars in the bank, you can say whatever hell you want, because we can pay for you to be out of work. But right now, don't talk yourself out of a job, because I can't pay your bills right now. We working on it.
You are so true, because I do a script every night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I send it out on Facebook so people know what I'm going to talk about the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But do I stick to that script? Absolutely not.
Nope.
It depends on who's vibing with me coming in. I may bring up something and say, yeah, that's right. And all of a sudden, that 20 things I had lined up, I maybe, like you said, 2 or 3.
Now, if it ties back in later, yeah, we can pull it in, but we're going to let this conversation just flow.
Oh, speaking about conversation flowing, I mean, you go back and forth from this one coming up. I'll get ready to say. I turned around. I did some digging around for the Super Bowl tickets. $7,000 for the nosebleed section.
Yeah.
$7,000. I said, why in the world I'm going to go to a football game sitting way up there? I need a pair of binoculars.
Well, that's the big thing, right? So we actually talked about this on the show, right? You're not really paying for the game itself. You're paying for the experience, right? Because the odds of you going to a Super Bowl, unless you got that dough, is probably going to be once or twice in a lifetime, right? So they're not actually charging you for the game. They're charging you for the opportunity to be a part of history. Is it fair? No. But when you charge $7,000 tickets, you have less of a chance of it being a bad experience, because everybody there had to come up out of something. And sometimes the price tag actually gives you a level of security that you don't get when the prices are lower, right? Because with something that everybody can afford, everyone shows up, and you're not trying to be that guy. But if I spend 7 racks, I'm not fighting with somebody in the 99th row, because it took me, I had to work for that. It's one thing to go to jail in Detroit. It's one thing to be on vacation in jail in LA. It's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Acting up, So sometimes you pay for the experience. Because that is definitely on my bucket list. That WrestleMania and the World Series are definitely on the bucket list. But I'm like you, like, damn, 7,000? Damn, that's halfway to a couple bills being paid. A full way, technically, for me, too.
I'm looking for what I said this morning about that. I'm trying to find it, because it was something that somebody turned and said, I never would have thought of that. Man, I got it. I know I have it in here because it's in my notes. So, man, I don't like this. When I know something's there and I can't find it, it's
all good. It'll come back to you.
Yo, come on, Ron. What are you doing here?
So, bro, think of it like this, right? You have an event that's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you make it to the point where sometimes when you drop the price too low, you make it not exclusive, if you will. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of a price to it to actually keep it at a premium. Because if everybody can do it, then what makes it so premium?
True.
What's the use of? Why would I spend $7,000 to be at the Super Bowl when I can technically go to the bar and for $20 in a beer I can kind of do the same thing? You're paying to be there. You're paying to be a part of that history, a part of that fan base, stuff like that. So, that's how I kind of look at it. Does it make me like feel great about $7,000 tickets? Absolutely not. But I understand, because I look at it like this: it's the way you see yourself too.
Yeah.
It's the way you see yourself. Do you see yourself as a person that, I want to be a part of that. I'm going to do this. Or B, oh no, that's too rich for my blood. And whatever side you come on, you're on, hey, that's on you. But I look at myself as that's doable for me. Maybe not right now, but very doable,
Yeah, but I would rarely go see my team play in the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl I would probably go to.
Yeah.
But not right now. No, I can't see myself going to see these two teams.
And see, that's the thing. I'm not spending $7,000 if it ain't my team, right? So the only time I made an exception to the rule, and I was mad because I didn't have the money, is when the Super Bowl came to Detroit, that Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
Man, that was the hottest ticket on the planet. I just my checking and savings account were not getting along at all. So I just had to watch it on TV. But it would have been nice to go, but I was like, yeah, I like my house. And this is like a couple mortgages. I can't pay this. But yeah, that's the only exception to the rule. It's not my squad. If they're in my city,
Yeah, I told on my show today, I said, you know what? The best suite in the house in the Super Bowl is your house. Just I said, make sure your ice chest is next to you. Make sure you got all your goodies so you don't have to get up. So you got your own suite in your own home.
Well, bro, that's technology for you. And this is another point we talked about on the show. One thing I will say, technology has grown to the point where you can have a great experience at home, watching sports, watching TV. You know what I'm saying? Because the technology is not, when I grew up, we had the 27-inch TV, the Betamax, then later the VCR. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, yeah, you could watch the movie at the crib, but it ain't like Dolby Digital. But now I got Dolby Digital at the crib. I got my surround sound. I got my favorite chair.
Too. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You can have that experience at the house, if you so choose to.
Oh, here it is. Put down this right here. Going to the Super Bowl today, I said you are better off taking that money, putting a down payment on a car, and use that money to buy your car. The price of a Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about the $7,000 seats up there. I'm talking about the one when you come down lower, where it gets into those other digits like 32,000, 50,000.
Yeah.
You could buy a car and halfway pay on a home.
Dude, you could buy the car and drive it to LA for the Super Bowl and still have change for the hotel for some of them seat prices.
And that's another thing. If you pay that much money for the Super Bowl, imagine what your refreshments are. I think I read that a 12-ounce beer is $20.
Easy. Even right now in Detroit, even when I go to see the G League, we're talking about a $12 slice of pizza. In Detroit, that's a whole pizza, but it's $12 for the slice, even for like G League, even for minor league. It's always a money grab,
And to be the same restaurant you go to all the time that got a place in the stadium, and they just jack them prices up like, I told my wife one time, I'm not paying for that. I'll wait till we leave here and go by the restaurant.
And I'm kind of like that, but I'm kind of not, right? Because I came there to see the game. I came there for the experience. So I will splurge a little bit, right? Yeah. I know that I'm going to buy this Modelo, and it's $9. I probably could have got a 6-pack or at least 2 of them. But I came there to be a part of the fan experience. So at that point, I'm trying to just be in that moment, and I'm trying not to think of the cost without going too far out of my realm,
Yeah. Well, I do it sometimes too, but I just look at the stadiums as like going to the movies. Now, everybody knows concession at the movies is ridiculous.
What, you don't want $40 bucket of popcorn to raise your high blood pressure, sir? What's wrong with you?
Hey, I give me some Jiffy. You know what? Speaking about that, I gotta say Jiffy Pop. I was in the store one day with my grandkid. I say, hey, let's get some Jiffy Pop. What's that? I said, Jiffy Pop, what do you do with that? You put on the stove and watch it pop. Well, what about the microwave? I said, dude,
No,
let me tell you
no.
what we used to do. We used to turn around and make popcorn by hand in a pan.
Yep.
And if you want some colorful popcorn, you put some Skittles in there with it. And when it pops, it's got all these colors in it.
Yeah.
See,
See, that's the
y'all,
thing. The kids don't know how to make it happen. They're so used to instant stuff. But yeah, I still make pan popcorn every once in a while. Every once in a
yeah.
while, I get the pot and I'm in there like,
Mm-hmm.
going crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And here we going off on a tangent, but
Mhm.
you could buy the cheapest popcorn seed and you get the cheapest popcorn. But if you go out and get them premium seeds, oh man, you
Oh,
get some good popcorn. Yeah, here we are. See, we talking about all. See, this is what we do, y'all.
yeah. This
This
is
is
this is
what
the
we
whole
do.
steez. This is what we do.
And I was telling RG the first time I watched him, I said he had that cigar in his hand. I want to
Yes.
jump through the screen again and just hold on.
Yep. Yep. Come on. You know me. If we're talking on camera, we are smoking cigars, sir. That's what we do. Yeah. When I get down to San Antonio, sir, we will have a couple. We'll throw back a couple.
Here's mine
That's
right
my
here.
goal. Yes, sir. What you
I
got? What
got
you
it
got?
right. I got it right here. Can't light it in the house because Mama get mad at me.
Oh no. I'm in the basement, and my
Yeah.
wife's actually out of town, so it'll be
Oh,
it won't smell like cigars by the time she get back. So my life
yeah.
is saved.
This is a Brazilian right here. Somebody gave it to me, a Brazilian hand rolled.
Nice.
So that means it may be just one leaf rolled up,
Yeah.
like the Cubans are.
Yeah, today we're smoking JM Dominicana. It's actually a better price cigar, but it's really well
Okay.
done. And they actually automatically put the punch in the bottom of the cigar, so you don't have to cut it. It's already pre-cut.
Oh, that's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Cigars, and I can sit back and smoke on a cigar like a Cuban. I can smoke on that at least 3 or 4 times during that week. Put it out,
Right.
you light it back up, you don't taste that ash.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know. And we're going in cigars, right? I'm kind of new to cigars. I'm only smoking cigars for I would say the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I drove by this place. I was like, I want to try a cigar. That's as random as I get. And
Yeah.
I've been hooked ever since. And I just like anything else, I start studying, understanding the wrappers and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's a part of my culture now. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
I'd never tried to pigeonhole myself. I'm always trying to branch out and do more within reason.
Right.
So love it, man.
See, we go
Love it.
cigars. Where we gonna go to now? Oh,
Mm-hmm. What you
I
got?
noticed. I was waiting for y'all to do some jokes, and I haven't heard y'all say any jokes. Cause I do joke of the day, and the best one I told was a week ago.
Yes.
It was a week ago when I told somebody. My wife said that was pretty funny. I sat and said, how did I put it? My back goes out more than I do.
I'm a double down. My doubly repaired knee goes out more than I do.
I said
Knock
that.
on wood, no back problem, but my knee, oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
said that, and people said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Really? Are you serious? My back goes out more than I do." They still didn't get it.
How old are they? Because remember, some of these cats out here got the new bones, so they don't creak in the weather like ours do. So they may not be able to relate right now. Give them about 10 more years, they'll get the joke.
Yeah. So, all right, let's circle around back because we got to talk about our girl,
All right, we
Miss
talking about.
Penny. Got to
Ah,
talk about Miss Penny.
love that lady.
And,
That's
and,
my dog.
and
That's
I
oh my
told her we're
gosh,
gonna
man.
be on somebody's watch. I don't know if it's her or not, but
Shout out.
I told her I was gonna have you on the show today, and I told her we're gonna talk about her too. And so let me give you my story behind Miss Penny.
All right.
I interviewed her about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out in the park doing this thing for Joe Webb Day, and this young lady comes up to me. She said, "Are you Ron?" I said, "Yeah." I've been looking all over for you.
What are
The
you
first,
doing?
the
That is
first
very
thing I'm
penny.
thinking of is she the police? What did I do? You know how blacks are. We are a little
Yeah.
skeptical, regardless if it's a white or black cop. And
Yeah. Why are you looking for me?
yeah.
You're bearing the
And,
lead.
and then she said and told me, I got a proposal for you. I said, last time I had a proposal, I ended up getting married. What do you got?
Yeah, less than me 20-something years. What are you
Yeah.
talking about here?
And so she's looking at me real serious, like, uh, I got a vision and you part of this vision. I said, okay. So we talked. I'm steady DJing and she's talking. I'm steady, and she did not leave. She was right there, and her husband was right behind her, and I'm sitting here.
Out the flamethrower. That's my guy too. Love that
Yeah,
guy.
and I'm sitting there saying, okay, I hope he don't think, you know what I mean? Like, we're just talking and everything. So finally, she laid out everything a little bit. She said, well, we'll talk later this week. I said, okay. Very next day she called. So much for a wait to next week. And she laid everything out, her vision on what she's seen. And she said, you are a big part of my vision. And I need you here in my vision. And the more and more I listened to her, the more and more we talked, the more and more I seen what she was doing. Then finally I just said, I'm on board. I
I
said,
respect it.
count me in. I'm on board. And stuff. So whatever you need, just let me know. And it went from there. And
Yeah, I respect it because Penny is a very spiritual person. She's super smart. And I wish we had more people like her with her sense of community and her sense of wanting to make the world better. I feel
yeah,
like if we had more people like her, the world would be effed up. It just would not be. She would
right.
refuse to let it go to where it's going now.
Hmm.
I kind of met Penny in the same way. She was a guest host on another show I was on, and we got along instantly. I think before the show, I think me and her cracked jokes off the random for like a half hour before the show started. And then she came on a couple of times, so I already had her information. So
Yeah.
when I called her, I was like, hey, homie, I know you remember me from the show. And we've been, because I will scoot in this camera right now and say, a lot of our success outside of just haha laughing and talking is because we have people like Penny. And I could not do this. I could navigate the space as well as we have if we didn't have people like her in the organization. It doesn't happen. Or maybe the way we see it now and the level of success we have does not happen if we don't have people like her.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that people need to always be mindful of. Yeah, it's one thing for people to help you chase your dreams. It's the one thing when people invest in you and they give their full self to your vision.
Right.
You have to be mindful of them. You have to be thankful of those people. You have to cherish them for whatever capacity you have them in, because they might be there for a couple hours. They might be there for the rest of your life, but you have to give them love when you have them in your presence. So Penny, thank you.
Yeah. And she's picking my brain and saying, Ron, you know quite a few people in this town. I said, yeah, I know some I don't want to know. She said, what do you mean by that? I said, put it this way, I would never steer you to somebody that I dealt with that it wasn't right.
Right.
I will never do that. She said, well, you got people to introduce me to? I said, be careful what you ask for. And I've been introducing her to people, and she just said, Ron, I didn't know if there was this and do that. I said, yeah. She
Yeah.
said, but you didn't say anything. I said, you know what? There's one thing about me. I don't brag about who I know. I don't brag about any of that stuff. If you want to know somebody, if you come to me and say, how's that person? I said, that's a good person to deal with.
Right.
What about this person? I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. It's
You
it's
know,
just that simple.
yeah,
Um.
I'm just being honest, you know. And then on the other end, she turned me on to a lot of people too. And so we're collaborating right now with a block party
Nice.
for Valentine's Day.
Oh
So
damn.
we're doing something there, and it's just that things just were ever since she walked into my business and doing things. I've been seeing a lot of things ticking up.
Yeah.
I mean, if everything is going up. When she introduced me to y'all guys and United Front Network, Pension
Mm-hmm.
Pennies, and all this and all that, and so it's a routine for me. So when I go out and talk to people, and they say, "Well, who's a good person?" I said, "I got the right person for you."
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's the biggest strength of networking. You're not really trying to put people on. You're just trying to get their foot in the door so they can expand.
right.
You
You
know,
said
because Yeah.
I hate to cut you, but you said something that was key, and this is the problem with our people.
Mm-hmm.
We scared to share.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are scared to share. Oh, well, they may get more than I got. There's enough of the pie out there for everybody. How? Put it this way: if you turn somebody on to somebody else, and they prosper from that, I guarantee you're gonna get a piece of that pie. Cause
I,
you helped them out, they're gonna help you out. Quit being so freaking stingy and share. Somebody asked me, well, how you start a radio station? I said, oh, well, I'll consult y'all to start one, but it's gonna cost you. I'm not gonna give you all this information free. And
right.
somebody said, you gonna show somebody how to start a radio station? Wouldn't that be your competition? You know my saying is,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not out there to compete. I'm out there to complete.
Thank you. Because people don't understand. If you're thinking you're competing with somebody, you're kind of wrong. If we're talking Coke and Pepsi and they're the only ones in the marketplace, that's a competition. But when it comes to entertainment, the only thing you gotta do is find your people. There are a billion people, and that's just here in the States. We're not talking about overseas. So your job is to find your core audience and talk their language, and everything will handle itself.
Exactly.
That was a big problem with a couple other podcasters I had dealings with, because they was like, "Oh, they're copying my style. Oh, they're copying my topics." I'm like, dude, we all copy each other. Only thing that separates my content from your content is the way I present it. Do I resonate with your group, or do you resonate with my group? That's it. But we're all talking about the same thing. You think the person over there in like Minnesota ain't talking about relationships? They are. You think the people in LA ain't talking about sports? They are. So what makes them different? The way you present it. That's kind of how the ops got started, because we were technically supposed to be a dedicated sports show. And I was like, hey guys, here's a fun fact. We come on at 8:00 at night. There is 12 to 14 hours of everything we talked about before we ever even get on the computer. So how do we make it different? How do we make it interactive for our people? Most of our people are not sports fans. They're not sports fanatics like me and Mike. So how about we teach people what it's like to interact with sports fans? So when they say these catchphrases like, I'm running a route. What the hell does that mean? Are you running around a circle? No, I'm actually doing things. I'm doing tasks. So we try to take sports lingo and sports culture, and we try to make it equate to the real world and pop culture, because we use so many catchphrases from sports and we don't even think about it because it's part of our lexicon. But we don't never think about, how the hell did we get to saying this? Someone literally probably had a burner hand and beats two in the bush. Someone probably did that. You know what I'm saying? It's our little additive, but it's like, yeah, somebody probably did that. So it made sense in that moment. So we have to bridge that gap of communication. So that's what we try to do.
Yeah, you're right about that, because we turned around, like I said, me and you could say the same thing. But no, let me back up.
All right.
When somebody is scared that somebody's doing the same thing you're doing, take that as an honor, because they seen you do something.
Thank you.
They seen you do so. Hey, I could do that, but remember, you did it first.
Right.
So everybody else using the way you do it. And then somebody else try to put a twist to it. It may not work for them because they don't know.
Yeah, so they're copying your formula. You are the formula.
I told everybody one time, I said, when I started my radio station, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I didn't do that at all. What I did, I went back and watched how 60 AM radio was. And what they did back in the days, they did live remotes. They did live broadcasts away from the studio. So I started doing that. I didn't reinvent anything. I just did what they did. Did I enhance it? Probably a little bit. But it's basically the same thing. And somebody asked me, well, what makes your station different than anybody else here in San Antonio? I said, well, as far as I know, I'm the only one going out besides AM and I'm looking at AM and FM stations here. Mm-hmm. And I'm an online station. I am the only one y'all see out there in the community doing live remotes.
Yep. And that's a lost art. So many years ago, before I was podcasting, I actually was a radio guy for a while, a long time.
Yeah.
Long story short, I was working at Home Depot. I had this dream about me and my sister. We used to make fake radio shows because the radio in Detroit was really big in my time. We had legends like a guy named Dick Burton, John Mason. There were so many legendary and entertainment. First class entertainment was the radio. The morning shows were hilarious. They were insightful. And then we got away from that. So
Yeah.
when I finally got into space and started actually doing radio broadcasting, I was just like you. I thought about all the legends and how they were able to talk and express themselves. And whether it was a conservative radio station or a sports station or a soul station, everyone had this personality and they were able to communicate on a higher level to their people. If it wasn't for you, you just turned the channel. You found the person who spoke your language.
Right.
And that's kind of what we do now. A lot of the stuff I learned in radio, I still do now. I got a pop quiz for you, sir. What was the first type of radio station I ever worked on? Take a wild guess.
An AM station?
Wrong. I worked on an FM country station. My first live air radio job was a country station, sir.
In Detroit?
No, sir. All right, so here's what happens, right? This is why I am the way I am, because I've done the impossible twice. When I came out of broadcast school, I'm not going to say the name of the radio station. I worked for one of the biggest soul, R&B, hip hop stations as an intern. I bust my tail. I took it just serious, my regular everyday job. Whatever they did, I was there. And they said, hey, man, whenever you get out, we got you, man. Yeah, don't worry. All you got to do is graduate. We got a job for you. So, okay, cool. So I'm working my butt off, doing the live remotes back when they did live remotes. And I got to school, like, hey, I'm here. And they said, well, see, what happened was I didn't have a gig. So I'm like, damn. So, but they didn't know that I was not doing the job I was doing with them because I was guaranteed a job. I felt like they had integrity. And I was just saying, hey, if there's an opportunity, holla at me.
Right.
So as soon as I said, hey, what about the job? They ghosted me. So I said, okay. I didn't spend all this money for this radio school. I want to be on the radio. So I went into guerrilla marketing. And at the time, I had a 1989 Ford Tempo, not Taurus, Tempo. Four banger, 4 valves, $2 in gas, fills it up. And I was like, okay, this car, I can drive about 50 miles before this thing blows up. So I took 60 of my demos and I sent it everywhere my car could reach. And after a week, I got a call from this radio station in Saginaw. Shout out to KCQ, WKQ's 98 FM. Shout out to them. They're in Saginaw, Michigan. That is an hour from my home. And every weekend, I would go out there and do 2 days on the radio to live my dreams. And what it taught me is, hey, you got to go outside of your area in your comfort zone. Because, yeah, that was a complete country station. And what made KCQ so odd, it was a country station in the middle of the hood. It was a full blast country station. Garth Brooks is pulling up in the station.
Oh,
there's barbed wire fence around this station. I met Garth Brooks at the station in the hood. I would stop at Kentucky Fried Chicken before I go to work because I was right next to every chicken place and every hood you ever thought of. That was it. It's right there. But those people treated me so much better. I was a 2-day part-timer working Saturday night and Sunday night. I had my own key to the station. I had free tickets. There was like, hey, we had a banquet. We left your food in the refrigerator. I had my own desk. I was a part-timer driving 100 miles to a radio station, and those people treated me like I belonged. And that's when I had to smarten up like, yo, you got to branch out because you never know where your next connection is going to come from. And you can't just say just because they look like us that's where the opportunity is going to come from. You have to be open. Yeah. And that's what sparked everything else. Like, I had that radio job for about a year. From that point, in that time frame, I met my wife. Then I moved to the West Coast. And I kind of got out of radio because you can't raise a family and pay bills off of like T-shirts and tickets. But that core learning is what brought me back to where I am now. And not giving up. You know, it's just the opportunity presented itself where the technology got better. And I still have all this stuff in my head that brought me back to here. So,
you did just a 360.
Mm-hmm.
right back where you at. See, that's what people don't realize. Some of the stuff that we go through behind the scenes to where we at today.
Right.
It was one paper that I wrote in college, and I ended it with years of wandering is years gathered experience. And professor asked me, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "I mean this: if a little kid touch a hot stove, they're not going to touch it again.
Mm-hmm.
So you put that in your database not to do that. But when you grow older, we're wandering right now. But you pick up experience as you wander. Some experience good, some is bad. You won't do that bad one again.
Right.
But it's a crying shame that there's no book telling you to do this and to do that. We all have to live our own experience and learn from it. And
Yep.
sometimes that is the toughest thing for adults to do because adults are very hard headed.
You know
I'll
what it
tell you.
is?
Yeah,
I don't know if we're really hard headed. And here's why I say that, bro.
okay.
It gets the older we get, it gets harder to fail when you're not used to failing, right? When everything's
Mhm.
easy and things are working, it's like dopamine. Oh man, give me some more of that good action. But when you start to branch out and you get into the uncomfortable zone and you fail, it hits different. And a lot of people don't have that, okay, it didn't work out, go back and do it again. A lot of people think that your dream is never supposed to have nightmares. And most people
Yeah.
don't recover from the first or second failures. But we look at everybody who's successful, they got their heads cracked.
Yes.
Colonel Sanders was driving around in his whip, cooking chicken with his woman in the car for years before he ever had a franchise. And he messed around and met Dave Thomas in the process, who ended up doing something different, right?
Yeah.
We look at all your favorite singers. A lot of these cats were not lucky like Taylor Swift, where their parents had a couple of dollars when they dropped them off in like Tennessee and let her cook. A lot of people had to be the street performer. A lot of people had to have those failures and have those downfalls, and that's why they're so fearless now, because they've already seen the worst. And what we're seeing is the end result of all their pain and all of their toils and all that stuff. And that's, if I can tell you people anything, don't let the failures keep you from your purpose, because there's a lot of stuff that you need to see before you hit that big one. There's a lot of stuff you need to see before that, because if I hadn't seen all the other stuff I've seen, I'm not sure if I would have been equipped to be the person I am now. I can 100% say that. I had to have those cold days. I had to have those sad days. I had to have those angry days.
Right.
And that's what makes me me. When I had wanted to do it and make it easy, heck yeah, I want everything to be easy. I want to wake up and look at my bank account and my paycheck is already in my account and I never have to work a day. Trust me, I'm just like everybody else. But what I realized is that ain't gonna happen. So what do we gotta do? We gotta get up there, we gotta work, we gotta try, we gotta fail, and we gotta keep going. It has to be that way.
You're right. But when a failure is you're not failing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a work in progress. So what? Get back up and do it, but don't do the same thing 4 times in a row. Get the same results.
Now, yeah. So the key phrase is you take the failures and you use those for learning, and you take the positive experiences and you use those as your fuel.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And don't get wrong, because I've seen some cats that I grew up with, and they had way more harder surroundings to do stuff with, and they are way more successful than me. And I'm proud of them, because I'm like, dude, I think I'm tough. Like, that guy's tough. That guy's tough. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm always respect people who can not just win, but pick themselves up from some diabolical things and still be them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That, to me, that's power. That's power. You know what I mean? That impresses me so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't tell me how you won the battle. Tell me what the battles were that got you to this point. Because that's what motivates me. Like Master P. Master P said, hey, we want to change our lives. They took a bunch of money and they went down there and they talked to Michael Jackson's lawyer, and they found out that Michael Jackson makes all of his money off of production and stuff like that. He's not making off the record sale. He actually is his own production company. And he pretty much took that game. No Limit Records, legendary. We talk about them as pioneers. Even if you don't like the music, the principles is that he went and found better information and he applied it, and he's good now.
Mm. You know, you're right because I was telling somebody they wanted to get in the radio, and I was telling them the real money is not being a radio personality. The real money is being a radio engineer.
Mhm.
That's where the money is at. The money is there.
Running them boards.
Yeah,
Running them
that's
boards.
where the money is at. It's not in front of a microphone. Yeah, it looks all glory and everything. Oh, I want to be there. But there's a less behind being behind the mic. Like we were talking about the things that we went through to get where we at.
Hmm.
And nobody want to take the hard road anymore. They want in front of them, they know what they're doing. I could give some examples of people talking about, well, I could do what you're doing. Fine, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And they still trying
Hmm.
because it isn't this fell in my lap. This is years of being in the music. This is years
Yes.
of me doing things. Messing around with bands. I managed some bands back in the days and I could thump the bass a little bit. I did that. I was out there in the trenches, seeing what was going on. And you know, it goes true saying, if you want to be successful, work your way from the bottom up.
Indeed.
So you know how everything works. So when you get in that point where you're on top, you got somebody coming and saying, well, you don't know what you're doing. I said, son, let me tell you something. I started now where you were at
Mhm.
15, 20 years ago. I was there. I could come do your job, but can you come up and do my job?
Right, sir. I was the mailroom 20 years ago. What are we talking about? It was no department. I was the
Yep.
mailroom. What are we talking about here? Yeah.
Yep. All that right there. All right. Before we close things out, tell us everything about when season 2 is starting and
Yes,
and
sir.
and what are you gonna be up to?
Oh man, funny you should ask. Well, first, we got brand new content actually happening on the YouTube channel. I have a passion project called 40 and Still Gaming. I actually do game content. So I at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today on on our actual YouTube page, I made a mini documentary about the history of Atari and my perspective as being a video game person. I'm big into video games. So that's coming out later today, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow on the actual YouTube, our buddy Betty from Miami, she actually experienced our Basil, and she has a two-parter. So part one comes out on, I think, on Thursday around 8 o'clock. Then Saturday, we have a conference, online conference, the Freedom 40 Acre Conference. Go on our website, www.United Front Network LLC, I think, or something like that. I'll put it in the comments. $5 to get you in. We're talking about community building. We're talking about finances. We're talking about everything that's important to us. And I don't mean us as in Black people. I'm talking about us as a global community. So it's
Mhm.
totally open. It's very private, and we expect people to interact. Matter of fact, I believe my brother Ron G is actually a featured speaker in said program.
Yes.
Mr. Humble. Yeah, this guy is so he will definitely. So you want to check Mr. Ron G out and hear all the game, all the wisdom I get privy to on a regular basis. Make sure you pull up for that because that's pretty awesome. Then Monday, we're back at it. The ops is back on Monday. Subject to be determined because we haven't had a conversation yet, but we'll be ready for you on Monday. And you can watch it on this very network, WSAN. You can also watch it on YouTube and on the United Front webpage. Other than that, creating content, being a dad, being a career person, and trying to build the best product we can to make the world a better place. That is pretty much my immediate things I'm trying to do
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
Hey, can't argue about that. You know, down the line, I'm gonna call you before this week's over because I got to pick your brain about a couple of things. And because I hear you got that knack for doing things on a computer with the software and stuff. So I want to pick your brain on some of this.
Well, you're my friend. Everybody who's my friend has my phone number. You can call me whenever.
Okay.
And if I don't pick up, I'm probably either at work or I'm on the phone with somebody else because my phone never stops ringing. But I will get to you.
And he's not lying because when I called him one time and went to his voicemail, I get that 15 minutes later, he called me back.
Mhm.
So that's how. Well, RG, I appreciate taking time out coming on the show, and I'm looking forward for Monday.
Brother, it's
Act,
gonna be a
act,
pleasure.
yeah.
You coming on?
I see you Saturday too.
Yes, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
He has an open, just so everyone knows, I'm telling this world, this man has an open invitation. He can pull up on our show anytime he wants. Just all you have to do is let us know. We'll send him a link. So you never know. Brother Ron might be on the show. You never know when it's going to happen, but he can pull up whenever he wants. Open invitation.
Well, I appreciate that, my brother. All right, you take care.
You too, sir. Good talk.
Right. Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye. Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.